Crazy Wildcats podcast. I'm your host, Mike Luke. How do I sound? Everything okay?
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Nice. All right. Now, that sounds better than Arizona. Arizona loses 28-22. This was a bad performance. The defense I thought was fantastic. I got to give Dwayne Keene a lot of credit. But, guys, offensively, this thing is a quagmire. This thing, William Brad Allis, we've seen a lot of bad Arizona offense over the years, a lot of offensive things. But, yes, this is very, very bad. It looks like it's a combination. It appears that nobody's on the same page. Your stars aren't performing like stars, and the play design is just bizarre. Other than that,
I mean, play calling may be the least of your problems because I'm not sure you have good plays to call, if that makes sense. Right. First and foremost, coaching aside, and we're going to talk a lot about coaching, your two big stars had bad games or had bad moments at key times. TMac has the fumble. It's hard to really blame. It got punched out, but it can't come at that time. Fifita threw one really bad interception in the end zone. The other one was, it was what it was. Arizona had 7 trips, I think, into the red zone and came away with 13 points.
Right.
Maybe 16 points. Either way, it wasn't enough. But bigger problem to me is Fifita's just not seeing receivers underneath.
Right.
Wide open. It's not even a height thing, I don't think. But it may be a play design thing because tonight, this is my perception, and that I don't know how many times he dropped back tonight, 30, 35. And on 27 of them, he was taking 7-step drops and then going back some more and then going back some more and then trying to fire downfield. That slow developing handoff, when they finally got away from it, Arizona ran the ball. When you got Conley moving towards the line of scrimmage or just not having to wait for the ball, Arizona ran successfully. And then when they started finally running and exerting their will, they decided to throw downfield twice while they only need a field goal to win. So I just threw out half of my problems with everything, and we could take it from there. But as frustrating as the coaching is on the offensive side of the ball, the performance by your two big stars was lacking. Again, if Fifita hits TMac downfield on that trick play, Arizona probably wins going away too. I mean, you can't, sometimes guys miss throws, but he missed too many tonight.
Ben One White.
Yeah, obviously the offense took a major step back after the Utah game. You thought things might have moved in the right direction. The play calling shifted to Adkins, obviously, and it just seemed like we were going backwards. Looked a lot like the Kansas State offense. It looked a lot like the offense in the first couple of games as well, where the play calling was pretty head scratching. Well, I thought Fifita probably had his worst game of the season thus far. I just thought the plays they drew up and the things they were trying to do did them absolutely no favors. Texas Tech got tired. They couldn't really do much offensively outside of the run game, which wasn't very consistent because they did get away from that at times. And Arizona had every opportunity to put points up on the board and just run away with this game. To Brad's point, you have 7 red zone trips, 3 for 4. You only come up with field goals in every single one outside of one trip. I mean, that's just not going to get it done. And I don't know what it is, but to me, when you look at the type of players we have and the success that Fifita has had, the success that this offense as a whole has had, and you watch the problems that are occurring, the only real difference between what we've seen and what we're seeing now is coaching. I mean, there's really no other way around it.
Yes. All right. Now,
hey, real quick, was the offense really that much better last week, or did he make one good throw? You take out the Burnett throw, and that's the same offense. And I think that's the problem.
It still felt a little better than Kansas State, where they only had 7 points.
No, it was clearly. I mean, sadly enough, they're clearly been better the last 2 weeks than they were the 2 weeks preceding that.
You want Dino Babers back. You're calling for Dino Babers to come back, William Brad Allis.
I am not, because Dino Babers was Kansas State and he was in AU. But the problem is you've got to execute in the red zone. And, if you don't do the 2 turnovers, and I agree with going for it when they did, the play call was lousy. But you could have tacked on 2 more field goals, which in this game was huge.
Right. All right. We're going to do almost all the super snaps at the end of the show, but I got to give my good buddy Jeremiah Dibble, the great Jeremiah Dibble. This is a coaching and scheme issue. What happens when we have a less talented team enter with this coaching staff? Max Panic. Love you, Mike. Yeah, that's not good. I can't argue with any of that. Let's now talk though about the guys. First of all, you know what? Let's talk about. It hit the like button. Help me out.
Your mic went out again, Mike. It's bad again.
It did?
There you go.
How do I sound now?
When you talk into it, you're fine.
Okay, fine. All right, sir. Okay, I apologize. I don't know. I'll get this all fixed. Let's talk about TMac, though, and then we're going to get to Noah Fifita. TMac's fantastic. Obviously, he's going to be a top 5 to 10 pick. But I think the problem with TMac, though, is everything has seemed nonchalant this year. You've got the fumble, obviously, that ended the game for Arizona. But at the same time, though, you also had a situation where there's been so many times this year where he's had balls that he could go up and get it with 2 hands, and he's just tried to one-hand it. It's been odd. He's putting up the numbers, but it hasn't looked right, fellas.
There's been a regression for sure. And I'm not sure if that has something to do with the injury, but then I go back to that point, right? Of you look at the easy throws and the easy attempts that they have at times, and the ball's not coming down. I just think it comes back to scheme, right? I think when you look at him too, it hasn't been as pointed out, but there are several routes where him and Fifita are just not on the same page. And I just think the whole offense has a lot to work on. There's something not right. And as a result, when that happens, your best players are going to be affected. And I think that's what's happening with TMac. I think that's what's happening with Fifita. There's just a level of consistency that isn't there. And scheme-wise, I'm just not sure what they're trying to quite do. And I don't even know if they know at this point what they want that offense to look like. And that's kind of the concerning thing at this point.
I mean, to me, it comes down to a couple things, and it's play design. Noah Fifita should not be under center, period.
Yes, agreed.
The only once tonight did they have a successful run that I remember under center, and it was the only time Conley came to get the ball. And if I'm going to, is it Coach Splain maybe? Normally, we all grew up. You've got the quarterback drops back, the running back comes to him, he throws the ball in the gut, you go. Not this delayed thing where literally Fifita's running with the ball outstretched till he gets to the running back, then he puts, and then the running back goes. When they run out of the gun, you don't have that 2-second delay, because what Texas Tech was doing was the minute they ran the delayed handoff, they were shooting their backers and their safeties. Now, that could work if you had a play call where you pull the ball, you go up top, there's no safety. They haven't done that all year. The other thing is Fifita's short, right? We can all admit that. When you have him dropping back out of the under center, it's harder for him to see. Why he's not bootlegging? Because he's got a strong arm. We've seen him throw on the run. But this backpedal, it looks like play your drinking game. It looks like when Mahomes doesn't trust his pocket and he just kind of backpedal. But Mahomes is 6'3" and can throw it further than Fifita. And he's got, somewhere down there will be Travis Kelce. Right now, he's doing somewhere down there's TMac, but it's not working. And if you follow me on Twitter, I called for rhythm throws, and finally they started throwing those little outs. Even the little shovel pass to Olsen that didn't work. I like it because it frees things up. Yes, you should take shots down the field, but if you bootleg him or slide the pocket and let him, he's going to see those underneath receivers. And they're not like 5 yards underneath. This isn't Khalil Tate who couldn't see guys because the linebackers. These are guys sometimes 15 and 20 yards down the field, but he's locked onto TMac 30, 35. On the, I don't know if it was the interception or if it was the one where he threw into double coverage and it almost got picked. There were 3 receivers at the same hash mark at like 15 yards, 20 yards, 25 yards that he all could have thrown to, most likely for touchdowns, because the safety, whose name escapes me all of a sudden, the guy who had that great pick, was locked in on TMac as well, as he should have been.
By the way, Rick Trimmer, the great Rick Trimmer, says the delayed handoff looks like a scene from Dumb and Dumber. Yes, so you're telling me there's a chance. You're telling me there's a chance. Yes, the delayed handoff, Jeremiah Dibble made this point as well. It is ridiculous. Stop doing it. It is dumb. It makes no sense. You are giving the defense what they want. Guys, it was cute once or twice. They are doing this all the way into the season. Knock it off. Stop.
Again, and it's not so, and sometimes I get nerdy sometimes with offensive, especially offense. I like to follow like spreadoffense.com. So
you're like our good friend Kevin Woodman that's always looking at
so
defense.
Last year, Jed Fisch and the year before liked to run the jet sweep to the short side, which drove me crazy. But I did a deep dive, and there's actually a strategic reason for that, and it's to get the linebackers moving, and it should free up some stuff. And I don't know if Jed ever exploited it, but there were reasons you do that. And there's reasons maybe you run the delayed handoff. One, if you have a running back like the kid actually from Texas Tech, who's a very patient runner, and you like to see where things are developing, or because you want them to overcommit. And Arizona did that a little bit too. How many times did Arizona get great penetration and Texas Tech ran right by them? But you set something up later. Oh, we want the safeties to crash, or we want the backers to crash because we're going to exploit it. But Arizona hasn't exploited it now in 5 games. So it's the only theory I had, and I again put this out on Twitter too, was we saw the fumbled snap when I think it was Conley, maybe Rossano, was running towards the line of scrimmage. Maybe if they do that in practice all the time, in which case, coach the kid to receive the ball. Don't call ridiculously bad play calls that just haven't worked all year.
Ben One White.
Yeah, and especially too when you're running most of these plays and pivoting, especially there in the second half, to the gun where you're handing it off to Conley, you're only doing yourself a disservice. I mean, how many times do we talk about teams 3rd and short, 4th and short, whatever it might be, and you run into those situations where the delayed handoff takes place and it's too late. The defense is already keyed in on what you're going to do. I thought too it was interesting because especially early on in that game, every single throw and every single possession on offense was just 4 or 5 wide. We got to push the ball down the field. And as good as Conley was, I thought he didn't even get the ball enough. You went away from that. And for whatever reason, this offense doesn't have the mindset of let's pick up 4 or 5 yards at a time. It seems like every single play needs to be a home run play. And I think defense is keying on that. They've keyed in on TMac. I thought Texas Tech did a great job of covering him all night. And as a result, this is what happens. And it seems very, very simple, right? You get the plays under in the middle. I mean, how many times were guys like Kean Burnett open, Jeremiah Patterson was open, those easy 4, 5, 6 yard plays, and for whatever reason, Fifita wasn't taking those throws. I believe Burnett's first catch didn't even come until the second quarter. It was like 3 minutes left in the first half. That's just not acceptable.
Yeah, I got to give there's a couple things here that I think we need to talk about. First of all, where is this? Utah. Do we know that Utah's good? Because Oklahoma State stinks. And so that was kind of the win that Utah was hanging their hat on. I mean, I don't know that we know that Utah is good. So I don't know that we can sit here and say that Utah is good. I don't know
if any Big 12 team is good.
Yeah, I mean, they're fun, but I don't know that any team is I don't know that any team's particularly good. But it is one thing. It is time for the Sanderson Ford drive of the game, my friend. Sanderson Ford drive of the game. Guess what it is? This is not what we wanted it to be. It is the TMac fumble. That was the play that decided the game. Football is back, and we are, and so are the deals at Arizona's largest Ford dealership, Sanderson Ford. Shop America's most awarded Ford dealership with no hassle, no pressure, and no nonsense. You don't have to be like Ben One White and always have a Tesla or a Lexus or something like that. You can have a Sanderson Ford, just like William Brad Allis dreams about having. Guys, that was the drive of the game. That's what it came down.
And just to be clear, though, Sanderson Ford will not fumble the ball, though, Mike, when they take good care of you, right?
And they won't stall the drive by throwing long.
Yes.
I think it's actually the drive before.
So good.
I think it's the drive before. They needed to run Conley like a Ford pickup. Just keep running Conley. There's no reason to throw deep there.
Most of the ASU fans that come in here, like Cade, they're all putzes. But Sharon Spall, very good person. We very much like Sharon.
Hey, give it to ASU. If they don't win another game, they've had a very good season. I mean,
Dilly's-
they've exceeded expectations.
It is what it is.
So,
yes.
yeah.
All right. Now let's talk about.
And here's the funny thing about this: everyone's writing off everything. It's not like Arizona got blown out. Arizona probably should have won this football game. Again, turnovers, some coaching issues. In spite of a ridiculously schemed offense, Arizona could have won this game if they just hang on to the football. They get 3 more field goals, maybe 4 more field goals. And I'm having Tomey flashbacks, but preserve your right for punt and make those field goals. And unfortunately, they got away from things that were working and things like that. But Arizona could have won this game by 2 scores, which is a sad thing. They didn't connect on the long. But now Texas Tech could have caught that touchdown pass, and it's also a different game. So who knows?
All right, now let's talk about the defense. That is one thing that I think we got to give. And you and I were actually. It always is interesting. I will say this about ASU fans. Not all of them, but so many of them are front runners. Here's the thing with me: I talk crap nonstop. But guess what? I am here. I say after a loss, bring it, bring it, bring it. Totri, I like you, but you ran after the last one. You do not get any credit right here. No. All right, but let's talk about Dwayne Aquina. I like Dwayne Aquina a great deal. If Dwayne Aquina wanted to be the head coach, I'd be cool with Dwayne Aquina being the head coach. I think he's done a masterful job with this defense. Going into the season, this was basically a defense where you're like, all right, just be middle of the pack, pardon the pun, and you would be really, really good. The defense has been the defense, obviously, the last couple of games has been fantastic. The offense has been absolutely abysmal. That is one thing, guys, that I think we got to give. We got to give Dwayne Aquina a massive tip of the cap. Not bad for being an old white guy, like Jason Shear said.
Is he Polynesian?
No, I know he's Polynesian.
So is he by nature a person of color? But here's the point: is he's doing it without some key guys out there.
Right.
Yes, there were a couple. The long play that probably should have been a touchdown, but the freshman felt the 3 was bad. The kind of game management maybe at the end of the first half that led to the field goal, not great. But at the end of the day, you were missing Gunnar Maldonado for what, 2/3 or 3/4 of the game. Stoops is out, I think it was, and one of the other DBs is out. And they adjusted. I will say this: early on, they were getting great penetration by their defensive line, but they were too deep. They were getting run by, or they were trying arm tackles, and then they kind of tweaked it. I don't know what the final running numbers for Texas Tech were, but you take out that late touchdown, they had trouble establishing drives for much of that game, and a lot of that I think were adjustments by Aquina, who was for most of the game kind of that one chess move ahead of his counterpart for Texas Tech.
Benoit White.
Yeah, I thought, especially there in the backfield, I mean, if you would have told me that Texas Tech was only going to average like 5 yards a play before this game, I would have thought, wow, Arizona probably wins this a lot more, right? Let alone losing. No, I thought the defense, obviously the defense has been great all year outside of maybe a couple of games in the start. I think it helps when you have more guys to rotate on the defensive line. Kind of the wild card was out on them the first couple of games, but I think you've got yourself a nice enough foundation, or at least a respectable enough. And, I think they did what they needed to do. They stopped the run for the most part. I get Brooks had a big game, but outside of that, you didn't do a whole lot. And big explosive plays is what was going to help Texas Tech put up a lot of points. And granted, you did have opportunities and you saw that at times, but for the most part, the defense kept Arizona single-handedly in that game for 3 quarters because the offense could do absolutely nothing. When you talk about the problems with this team, has nothing to do with the defense whatsoever. I think that they're playing their butts off. I think that Arizona has a nice collection of guys to make things happen. And I think that moving forward, you're only going to see them continue to hopefully get better, assuming they don't get worn down, because the offense is really putting them in some tough spots. That's for sure.
Okay, now let's talk about that. But first, let's have the branded bills. Okay, branded bills. Elevate your brand with branded bills. This is our tip of the cap segment, and this goes to Dwayne Aquina. Dwayne Aquina is fantastic. He has done a great job with this defense. I think the corners were fantastic. We see Michael Killebrew in here, father of Marquise Groves Killebrew. Very, very good. If you got any more of those kids, send them this way. We need more of them, not less. The DBs, the linebacker, everybody was great. And again, Dwayne Aquina. He is the gift that keeps on giving. He is fantastic. That is my tip of the cap, Dwayne Aquina and the defense. Guys, you guys are both wearing caps. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, again, our good friend John Schuster got on me because I wasn't ready to bury Aquina after the first couple games, but the defense has played well enough to win 4 games in a row now.
Right.
You give up 31, and it was really 24 to Kansas State on the road. You should win. You gave up this week. I know it was 28, but it was 20. That late. I'm not even sure that late touchdown wasn't given to him to try and get the ball back. Either way, you gave up 28 to a team that averages 40. You should win, especially when you have 7 trips to the red zone. And what was it? 9 trips, 10 trips into their territory. So yeah, the defense was great. Aquina's done a good job. At this point, I have no criticism for him other than maybe he has some trouble with running quarterbacks. But even then, they've played well enough to win every game.
Ben White.
I concur with everything. I just hope offensively you get this fixed, right? Because Stukes is obviously injured. You've had injuries here and there on the defensive side, having to rotate in different guys. And again, as good as the coaching has been and as good as your personnel is, you're only as good as the players you have available. And I just hope that we have players available and, we don't have any injury woes moving forward, because the offense certainly is contributing to that. That's for sure.
Now let's talk about the offense, because that's obviously, is this staff, I'm just going to ask you this question right now, period, point blank. And Eric Ruby, I will get to your point, because yes, they have been massively disappointing. Is this staff offensively just in well over its head? You look at the offense, and again, with Matt Atkins, it's better than Dino Babers, because Dino Babers looked like Coach Walls out there calling plays. That cracks me up when I see that on Twitter. Dino Babers obviously is not the answer. Matt Atkins, a little bit better. Lyle Malvo is your quarterback's coach, but doesn't have a lot of experience. Bobby Wade, I think it's hard to look at these receivers and say that he's done a great job. Is this staff offensively just kind of in over its head?
It might be. I think it's tough to pass judgment on a few things. One, you've just got a rotating cast at offensive line. And I don't know if it's due to injury or you're trying to get matchups. If you notice the final sack of Fifita, and it wasn't his guy, but Capri, or is it, I don't know, Capra was out there. I didn't even know he was on the 3.
Stewart was out there. Yeah.
It was actually the tackle who got beat, but how many different left guards do they have tonight? 2 or 3. Deuce was in and out, and again, I don't know if guys are hurt. I do have questions, and again, one is play design. Why are all these such long developing plays? To me, with a quarterback
snapped with 4 or 5 seconds on the play clock.
The other thing to me, though, is at what point do you coach up? And again, we know Fifita is a good quarterback, but he is not seeing the field well. It's, hate to say, it's very Khalil Tate-esque, where he can either throw 30 yards downfield or he can throw 5 yards downfield. Why can't he find guys in the middle of the field, 15 yards downfield? Because guys are open, whether it's Burnett, whether it's Olsen. And, he had Olsen on the sideline once, just missed him. The ball sailed on him. But there's a lot of guys, at least, and again, I don't know, I haven't seen the All-22, but if you look at the ESPN and tonight the Fox broadcast, there's a lot of guys 20 yards closer in than TMac downfield on some of those passes that he's either not seeing or just ignoring. And that was the problem with Khalil Tate. Khalil Tate, with his vision of the field, and again, he did not have the best coaching. He did not have the best group of people in his ear either. But Clote could either throw it 40 yards downfield or 4, and nothing in between.
And the problem you have too, obviously, is somebody like Fifita can move, but he doesn't have the wheels of Tate to make up for some of those plays too. I think it's coaching. I mean, I think Fifita has clearly regressed, and to Brad's point, he's leaving easy plays on the table. Even when he finds guys, the development is just taking too long. I mean, the Conley pass in the red zone, where I think it ended up being 4th and short, and Arizona had to settle for a field goal. Fifita looked at him like 3 or 4 seconds before he threw that ball, had him wide open. And by the time he threw the ball, the safety and the DB had keyed in on Conley, and it was too late. He was going to be short. So I think coaching is a big part of it, because we've seen Fifita make these plays over the middle, going back to last year. And I just think that something is off. I don't know if it's a personnel thing. I don't know if it's the coaching staff maybe not being as hands-on as they need to be. Every time they cut to Fifita on the sideline, I saw a lot of him just sitting by himself, looking at an iPad or tablet. To me, I think you've got to have either your OC or your quarterback coach down there on the field working with him and pointing these things out in real time, and just not seeing that. I think he's somebody who clearly obviously had a lot more hands-on help last year, and this coaching staff maybe operates a little bit differently. I guess nothing wrong with that per se. Everybody does things differently, but I just think that it's coaching, and obviously there's limitations there, but he's leaving a lot of easy stuff out there that he was taking, in past games that we've seen.
All right, now I do want to talk about this thing. People keep saying, well, Noah's too short, he can't see it. Well, that wasn't a problem last year. And I'm also going to say something, too, about all the people with Jedd Fisch. Listen, Jedd Fisch did a lot of really good things here. But Jedd Fisch, until Noah Fifita came in and basically forced his way in, was going absolutely nowhere. Jedd Fisch was 1-10, 5-7, and he was going to be 5-7 again because he was just going to play JDL. So you got to put that factor in there as well. So that is something that I think people are missing out on.
But we'll even look at last year's play designs. And again, I was critical of at times quite a bit of Jedd Fisch. But one, they did boot Noah out, sometimes by design, sometimes by necessity. 2, a lot of the blocking was designed. How many times did he step up in the pocket? When the pocket opens up, you can see. And again, I'm the first guy to love short quarterbacks. As a guy who thinks Doug Flutie is on my Mount Rushmore of short people. But he's not 5'10". He's 5'8". It is tough to see over the line, and you have to scheme for that. And this backing up 7 steps and then backing up some more and not stepping up or not having the pocket closes. And my hands are not in the screen, but it's not opening. It's kind of coming back with him, and he's trying to throw over it. So he can't see guys at 50 yards. It honestly reminds me a lot of JDL last year, except JDL would get outside the pocket. But JDL liked to backpedal and throw off the wrong foot and things like that. And Totri, if you want the top 4, it's Spud Webb, Muggsy Bogues, Doug Flutie, and Napoleon. And if you don't like 2 basketball players on it, we'll put Tom Cruise on there. But the point is, you got to do some things to scheme for his lack of height and just lack of, again, whether it's rolling out, stepping up in the pocket, sliding protections. There's a lot of things you can do, and they're not doing it. It's a lot of throwing off the back foot because that pocket's coming back at you.
So real quick, Mike, I'm curious your thoughts on this because we're getting this in real time. So Brennan is talking after the game, and one thing that he said that he thought went wrong tonight is he thinks Arizona's offense is carrying too much scheme, meaning guys were running the wrong way. He thinks there's a little bit too much, I guess, in the fold, and maybe it's just, hey, we need to simplify things or we need to figure something out. But that's kind of the early assessment from them. Interesting.
Well, yeah, duh, dude. Why are we this far into the season and you're figuring this out? I guess that's my problem with Brennan, and that's going to continue to be my problem with Brennan, is that it doesn't feel like Brennan has any form. It just kind of feels like, well, kind of here, kind of there. And here's the problem that Brennan's going to have. And Brennan listen, we've all lived here. Ben One White, you hang out obviously in the slums of Calabasas. Well, Brad, Allis, and I are in Tucson. But we know this. Arizona fans will tune out very, very quickly. Brent Brennan has done absolutely nothing. When I tell you nothing, I say less than nothing to engage the fan base, to put players out there, to do anything. So when he goes to his press conference on Monday and he says, and I guarantee he's going to say this, we need the fans to still show up and continue to support. Dude, you've done literally nothing to engage the fan base. You've gone out of your way not to engage the fan base. So miss me with all that, because Brad and I have seen this a million different times. That's going to come. If you don't put in the work, if you don't put any effort, nobody's going to care, dude. You didn't give yourself any margin for error to play with. Your margin for error was going to be if this team won, and it's not winning, you don't have a margin for error, period.
No, I mean, again, there's plenty of criticism for Jedd Fisch, but Jedd Fisch marketed himself and this team very well. Everything from, going out when he hand pizza to the Zona Zoo, or having the guys out at tennis matches, or, going to speak. And Brennan's done the speaking circuit. I know he's been to Rotary clubs and things like that. But yeah, he has to get out there more. You have to engage the fan base. This is, you're not necessarily competing with pro sports or even U of A basketball, but you're competing with a lot of youth sports now. Just give you an example: Little League baseball over town tonight, club baseball all over town tonight, club softball all over town tonight. I think there's 5 different youth volleyball leagues. You're competing with that, and I know it sounds silly, but you've got to engage the fan base. And at some point, even if it's lip service, just tell everyone, you know what, I'm going to put my stamp on the offense. Right. We got to make some changes. I'm one of those coaches. I learned, even if you like, Coach always told me, you got to let the coaches kind of work their way through stuff. But we're past that now. We've got to, say what you want about Stoops. Stoops was able to kind of, sometimes he was being honest, sometimes stuck his foot in his mouth, like making fun of the ASU and the JC players, or saying the Red River shootout was a better. But there were times he just said, yeah, this sucks, we got to make some changes. And that's what you got to tell the fans now what they want to hear.
All right. Now it's time for before we get to the lovely Erika L. Day, who is there on assignment, it is now time for the Back the A Player of the Game, presented by NUTRL. Let's see here. I'm going to go with the Back the A Player of the Game. I'm going to go again. I am going to go Dwayne Aquina. I'm going to get Dwayne Aquina for everything. I love Dwayne Aquina. I think he did a great job. This is your Back the A Player of the Game presented by NUTRL. Guys, you agree with me quickly, correct?
I like it, but I'm also going to go Dalton Johnson. He was all over the field, had 8 tackles.
Johnson, but yes, I like that one
Trey
as well.
Smith had a good game, I think, as well.
Right.
A lot of pressure on the quarterback, things like that. Yeah. Again, where's Jacob Manu?
Totally get it.
I didn't hear his name called much.
We're going to get to that in just a second, but that's the Back the A Plus performance. This segment is powered by NUTRL. Keep it tasty, Tucson. Enjoy responsibly. Now, let's join Erika L. Day live on assignment there, our new sideline reporter.
Hello?
Hello, Erika L. Day. How are you doing? Give us the vibes from there.
First of all, I just want to start off by saying that Brent did take complete responsibility for this in the press conference that I just left. But I also want to say he also confused everyone, including myself, Jason Shear, all the media, because he kind of insinuated that the offense was too convoluted. And at this point in the season, how do you have an offense that's too convoluted? And, I think about what you said early in the season and how no one was scared for their job. And at this point, I think Brent Brennan is mad and they need to be scared for their job at this point.
Well, yeah, but let me ask you this, Erika L. Day. You're a woman of substance, somebody you always know how you feel with Erika L. Day, and she will let you know how. Do you think that these players, do you think that Brent Brennan is actually going to do something, or is this going to be, hey guys, I don't want to have to give you a noogie again, so let's do this?
I'm going to be honest, no. It didn't feel like empty threats or promises at all. And in fact, the players, both Noah and Dalton, were pretty emotional, you could say. I mean, you could tell that Noah was pretty let down, and who could blame him? But that being said, like, the offense knows that they did not play well, and the defense and Tyler Lube kept them in the game. And so the offense has got to step it up moving forward, or they cannot win football games.
All right, Erika Alday. Now, do you think that there will be, did you get the vibe that Brent Brennan is going to come in here and say, there will be no more of this? Watch this. Smack, smack, boom, boom.
No, and 100%. And they said it, both him and Noah, both in the presser, that they will be back at work tomorrow. This is not, going to go away. They're going to be looking at this immediately. They're not going to be taking their time with making changes to what went wrong tonight.
Erika Alday, you are a gem. You will be joining us on Monday. This is correct.
This is true.
All right. Very much appreciate you, Erika Alday. Thank you, our sideline reporter, Erika Alday. Remember the little people. William Brad Allis, you are back. Now, let me ask you this. Do you buy this? Do you think, oh, by the way, a Lost Highway or Anakin Skywalker? I very much support that account you put out there. But let me ask you this. Can Brent Brennan do it? Can he? Because it doesn't feel, there is nothing about Brent Brennan that feels like, all right, he's got this handled.
And there are some guys who just win at certain places and can't win anywhere else. But the guy won at San Jose State. He obviously knows how to win football games. But I don't know. And there are guys, we've seen guys who've dominated at one place, go to another place, and fail miserably. And unfortunately, I'm not ready to write Brennan off. I think it's ridiculous if people want to fire him now. But you can be very disappointed. But here, and I got people, the season's over. They're literally one play away from winning tonight. This isn't Kansas State where you needed 5 things to go right, 9 things. You need 1 thing to go right tonight. If Fifita makes the pass on that trick play and TMac calls it in, Arizona probably wins this one going away. If they keep running the darn football on the second to last drive and then kick the field goal with, a minute and a half, 2 minutes left, Arizona probably wins this football game. And we're talking about there's some things to clean up. So it's not like they got blown. They got blown out against Kansas State. And that was not good. Now the question is, can he make the changes? And I don't know. And that's a huge question because, we've said this now, I think 3 staffs in a row. Can Jedd Fisch adapt? He did a little bit. Could Kevin Sumlin adapt? No, he just wanted to cash checks. We never got the Kevin Sumlin
and do other things
and do stuff with that money at certain steakhouses in the foothills.
Benwin White, true story about us, because we want to have a little bit of fun here. Benwin White and I were going to follow Kevin Sumlin because we got his itinerary one time. Do you remember this, Benwin White?
I do. I also remember when I saw him roaming around the Holiday Inn in Glendale, California at 1 o'clock in the morning with a beverage in his hand. We'll put it that way.
Yes. He was
before the game.
Hey, by the way, Benwin White, Brad Allis, you guys are radio professionals. You're going to like this. This is called a tease. Just so everybody knows, now that we are on the fast channels and many other things, I have to do a tease and then a 2-second pause. So what they've been telling me is you want to make this natural. You want to make this a transition. I will not do that. I will have the 2-second tease. Kevin Thomas, here is your 2 seconds before we get started on the reads. Branded Bills. All right. Now, you might say to yourself, Branded Bills. What could Branded Bills do for me? Check this out. You're going to say, Mike Luke, you are a loser. Correct. I am. But look at this. If I was wearing this Branded Bills, this would look amazing on me, but I am not cool enough to wear it. Check all of it out, though. Branded Bills. Benwin White, you have a Branded Bills. This is true.
This is true.
Brad Allis, you would look incredibly sexy. You have a new camera, and Branded Bills would look really, really good on you as well.
That might be the next move.
That is the next.
My son's U of A cap did not have the magic tonight.
Yes, exactly. Check it out. Branded Bills. Head to brandedbills.com and use code PHNX for 20% off your first order. Be like Eric Ruby, the great Eric Ruby, and have a Branded Bills. Also, Sanderson Ford. Now, when you think of Benwin White, you think girth. You think strength. You think testosterone. You think a rush. Sanderson Ford. It is one and the same. When you think Ben One White, you think a synonym of Sanderson Ford. Ben One White, this is true.
This is true, and I'm putting that on my highlight tape right there. Very nice work.
Oh, I thought that was amazing, but it's just a rush of strength and testosterone. Either way, check it out, Sanderson Ford. Get deals on the 2024 Ford Bronco Sport for 5.9 APR for 66 months, plus $2,000. Must be financed through Ford Motor Credit OAC. Also, help us for his Hispanic Heritage Month with Dios de los Muertos trunk or treat at Sanderson Ford. By the way, a lot of people ask about Ted Wardo. Is he Hispanic? I don't know what Ted Wardo's ethnicity is, but the name is certainly Hispanic. Check it out, Sanderson Ford. Be girthy, be like Ben One White, and be strong with Sanderson Ford. That is where we are at. Okay. Brad Allis, I see you. I see a thought bubble popping out.
Well, I see people and I'm looking at the chat, and Arizona's not going 3-9. Okay,
No.
This may be a disappointing season, but Arizona's not going to lose their last 8 of whatever it is of the season. Okay, so just stop. They were not blown out tonight. They should have won. That's the disappointing thing. Even as bad as they played, they still should have won. So now, will they maybe be 5-7? Yeah, unfortunately, there's a very good chance they could be 5-7, even 7-5. Disappointing. But let's pump the brakes a little bit. They're not losing because Brent Brennan wears a lay. They might be losing because they allow Dino Babers in the press box. He happens to wear a lay, but let's pump the brakes a little bit. A lot of the problems I think are fixable. The question becomes now, can they fix it? And I don't know. But, this is the same conversation we were having last year at this time. We literally had this conversation. I think they were 3-2 after.
Yeah, but we're not going to put in Braden Dorman, though.
Well, no, let's hope not. Or no offense, but the when your backup's a walk-on, yeah, there might be some issues.
Ben One White, what say you? Are you calling for Royal Tannenbaum? Are you calling for Caleb Tannenbaum in there? Are you at this point, Ben One White?
Believe it or not, I am not at this point yet. But look, it's not going to get any easier because when you look at the opponents, BYU, Colorado, West Virginia, UCF, for the most part, those are teams not like Texas Tech quite, but they're all teams that can score and put up a lot of points. So Arizona's going to have to find a way, and we've talked about this even leading into the season. If you can't score, 28 points a game in these conference games, you're just not going to win a lot of games. And it's amazing that they even got to 22, honestly, tonight. But that's your problem right there. It's putting up points, and it's a play or two, right, from getting into the red zone or converting a touchdown instead of a field goal. And to Brad's point, we're having an entirely different conversation. So I certainly don't want to push the panic button, but it is concerning that we're at a point in the season where these issues are occurring and there's just a big regression. It's the same personnel for the most part on offense. I get you had some adjustments you had to make at the running back side, but Conley's been fantastic. Other guys you have been put in those spots have been good. So you've got to figure out something. And I think it's just a matter of Fifita tweaking a couple of things. I think the coaches need to be a little bit more hands-on with that. And moving forward, you've got to be able to score points. And as you saw tonight, 22 wasn't enough to get it done.
All right, now Eric Ruby. Eric Ruby is doing a lighthearted troll. I very much like Eric Ruby. We made fun. True story, we were in Las Vegas, and we made fun of one of those pit bosses. The guys that, go around and make sure that you're not winning money in Las Vegas? We made fun of this guy literally for probably about 7 straight hours. I am not kidding with you. This person, basically, we broke down his entire life story. But Eric Ruby is asking me, are you disappointed in Arizona football this year? Duh. Yes, I am disappointed in Arizona football. They do not look good. There is no way around it. Now, the defense is better than I thought it was. But guess what? The offense looks like Coach Walls is calling the plays. It looks like William Brad Allis is basically running a jet sweep for Ben One White, and Mike Luke is the Montana Lamonius Craig. It looks terrible. It is beyond disappointing. I don't know what else. All right, now Eric Ruby says, what percentage hold on. What percentage would you put them as far as being as good as you expected them to be? I don't know, but they are not good. They are has been very unimpressive, Erika.
They should have been 4-1 at this point if they were what we thought they were.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I would put them that they're about 65% as good as I thought they would be. How about that for a number, fellas? What say you?
And
Brent,
I'll say this much, Mike Luke, and I'm curious your take on this. If Brennan thinks the offense is too complicated, I'm terrified to see what a simplified offense would look like.
Oh, see, no. I'm not, because where are the quick outs? Where are the slants? Where are the God, you guys are going to kill me. Where are the bubble screens? Where they ran one screen tonight. Well, they tried to run two, but they ran one successful. That's the problem. All these long developing plays don't work. When they got the ball out of his hand quick, they moved the football. When they got rid of the delayed handoff, they moved the football. I don't even I'm going to say this. I don't hate them running out of the shotgun on 3rd and short. I don't love it, but I'd rather have that than Noah running back 5 yards with the ball outstretched the whole way and everyone waiting for the guys in the gap.
And why do we just have to run? And why are we running fades like literally the whole game to guys that can't? Montana Lamonius Craig has never gotten open during his entire time at the U of A, yet he never comes off the field. And you're literally running a fade for him. He is not going to catch that. Period.
Where's the quarterback sneak?
Catch this. You will not catch this. Go ahead.
Where's the quarterback sneak on 4th? I mean, if you've got him under center, just have him ride the center.
All right, now.
As opposed, again, running back with the ball 8 yards, doing this.
Right.
Doesn't work.
I do not believe that the small stature has anything to do with Noah Fifita. I think it's something else because, again, that was not a problem last year. He didn't get shorter.
But I think Jedd Fisch did some things to scheme for his lack of height. Again, did they boot him? Sometimes. Not as much as I would like. But a lot of what they did is the blocking was designed to allow him to step up in the pocket.
Yeah.
How many times did he step up in the pocket and rifle the ball downfield? Why? Because when that pocket opens up, he can see those guys at 15 and 20 yards that he can't see when he takes a 7-step drop and then drops 2 more yards and then keeps his feet moving. And then it ends up being 9-10 yards down in the backfield, and then trying to throw over a line that he can't see over.
By the way, Jeff Briggs, that's a great remark. Kevin Thomas, if you could pull that remark up, that is a fantastic remark. He basically said, is Speedy Luke redshirting because he's too fast for the slow hand? Yes. What? Yes. I would. I don't know that I. Ben One White. I see you agreeing with this.
I do agree with it. And I think to piggyback off the Fifita point, where's the play action too? I mean, when you put him under center, I feel like that was one of Jedd's marquee plays right there. You do a little play action, have him step up in the pocket. Yeah.
That's what you have to do with the delayed hand. That's what the delayed handoff actually sets up, because you pull the ball, everyone has crashed, the backers and the safeties, and you have guys downfield. Someone else, again, I don't see the names real quick here. Someone asked about the RPO. Yeah, that RPO and I know you don't want to run Fifita a whole lot. I get it. But you can do some things out of that RPO with the rollout, even if it's not a true RPO, but where you roll the quarterback out. He gets those short passes. You flood one of the zones, and so he can choose guys at different levels. Because we're seeing that downfield where again, I go back, I can't remember if it was the pick or the one that should have been picked in the corner of the end zone. He had 2 or 3 guys at different levels of the same hash mark wide open, but he didn't. He had already thrown it downfield. They didn't let it develop. Again, I don't want these slow developing plays, but if you are going to let them slowly develop and you have guys that are open, you have to hit them.
Guess what? This is called a tease. This is for Kevin Thomas to get ready for our 2-second delay before we get going. NUTRL. Now, Ben One White, you just had a birthday. You just turned 24. This is correct.
Something like that.
Okay. Now, you might say to yourself, Ben One White, that guy looks a lot cooler than those 2 old fogies next to him. Guess what? You are right. But you know what also makes Ben One White a little bit cooler? Ben One White hangs out with people that drink NUTRL. Listen, sometimes it is that simple. You might look at Kevin Thomas behind the scene and you're like, wow, that guy's cool. You might even look at Eric Ruby and say, man, that guy really roots for the wrong teams. But guess what? He probably also drinks NUTRL. And I am going to tell you that he does drink NUTRL, and he appreciates those 2-second pauses as well. Ben One White, what is your favorite NUTRL?
There's too many to choose from, Mike. I mean, come on. They're all great.
They're all great, and that is the thing with NUTRL. Again, it's girthy, just like Sanders and Ford. Check it out, NUTRL. Keep it tasty. Enjoy responsibly. 2024 Anheuser-Busch NUTRL flavored vodka and carbonation. St. Louis, Missouri, just like Kevin Thomas. Also, the big thing that we need to talk about is Circle K as well. Circle K. Listen, I went to Circle K twice today. I went to the GOAT on 6th Street, and everybody out there that doesn't think that I am being serious about this, they are wrong. I am going to apply for a job at Circle K on Tuesday. Here are the parameters, though, and I am being very straightforward with this. I will only work at the one on 6th Street, and it will only be for 4 hours a month. But I will give it my all for those 4 hours a month because of what Circle K means to me and to the community. You guys can come check me in. I am going to be very, very clear about this, though. I will do this at Circle K, and you guys both know that I would do a great job at it.
Did you go to Circle K today with your Inner Circle hat? That is the question, though.
Yeah, get out. No, I'm serious. People don't think I'm serious about the Circle K thing. If you know me, you know that I'm being serious about this. Ben One White, do you have any doubt in your mind that I will apply for a job at Circle K?
I have no doubt, and if you get hired, you will be the worst employee they've ever had.
But at the same time, I will be proud about it, and I will send so many real-time pictures out there.
You won't be the worst.
Yeah,
and that's not a complimentary or my confidence in Mike. I've just been to a lot of Circle Ks.
But again, Circle K is amazing, though. Check it out. Here's the deal with Circle K, though. Be like our good pal Ben One White. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. Okay, now.
Here's what I picture Mike at the Circle K. Like, someone comes up, they buy their candy bar. Mike's like, quick, top 5 candy bars.
Well, I was going to say, now, where would you rate this candy bar amongst the candy bars that you bought last week?
Now, historically, has there ever been a candy bar better that's no longer made? Yeah, that's what Mike's conversation.
Mike and his challenges with technology, somebody's going to want to buy a candy bar. He's not going to know how to ring it up, and they're just going to walk out for free with the candy bar.
He's going to put them on the self-check, though. Those self-checks are great.
I will not take any of this. I am going to be an amazing employee at Circle K. Totri just messaged me. No, get out of here. And you know the answer to that, Totri. Buzz off. Okay, now, moving forward, we got BYU. Going into the season, I thought BYU was going to suck. They do not suck. I also very much like BYU fans, much better than Utah fans. Utah fans, shoo. BYU fans. This one's going to be tough, though, fellas. This one's going to be a tough game. BYU's good. They've got a lot of 35-year-olds out there. What say you, Ben One White? A lot of guys on the team that are older than you and maybe about the same age as William Brett Allis.
Yeah, they're 5-0. They've looked pretty good. Kansas State, granted, isn't very good, but they had a big win against Baylor before the game today, so should be interesting, right? And I think there's going to be more pressure, obviously, on Arizona than there is BYU, so you just have to hope from an Arizona perspective, you can exploit that. You can clean up some of these things. The offense can look a lot better than it did tonight. And again, we don't need to, I think, tear everything down from scratch and start over, but it's just a matter of, I think, simplifying things and really zoning in on, okay, what are we doing play after play from an offensive standpoint, and why hasn't it worked? Figure that out, and you should be in a good spot.
It's typical Arizona football. They'll play much better against BYU. Everyone will get excited, then it'll go downhill again. It's just the way it is. I've read the script before.
That we have seen this script before. Rinse and repeat. Okay, now one thing that I do want to take a little bit of a victory lap on, and this is something important. Listen, Antonio Pierce. I said from day one that he was a mole sent by the U of A to destroy ASU football. He did just that. Now, there was actually somebody that was put out there by a reporter from the Arizona Republic. That was the headline.
I can't believe that. In the freaking Arizona Republic, somebody wrote that.
Kevin Thomas, if you have that headline, maybe we could put that out there. This is a victory lap. This is me claiming.
Was this the longest con in history then? Did this start when he wouldn't claim Arizona on Monday Night Football?
Yeah, dude.
Where he his JC or his high school?
Well, that shows you what dullards the people at ASU are. They fell for this, and that Antonio Pierce spent about 15 to 20 years claiming to not back the A, when in actuality he backed the A more than John Button Salmon did. This guy backed the A to the fullest, to the point where he pretended he didn't like the A to get to ASU and then destroy the program.
Yeah, still didn't nuke it enough. I mean, they are 4-1.
But Brad, you got to admit,
he did a good job. He just didn't do the death note. He couldn't get him put on the death penalty.
You got to admit, though, I was onto this from day one. I'm wrong on almost everything, but I was right about this one.
You were?
Yes. Now, Ben One White, many people mocked me, and now it is becoming commonly known that this man was a mole.
Hey, man, and you've got the Arizona Republic, a major newspaper, backing you on this one. So, yeah, it's got to be true.
Yes, exactly. Antonio back the A Pierce. So either way, I just want to give my.
But he's a mole to blow up the Raiders as a Chiefs fan.
Interesting. All I'm saying is he did really good job. Did really good work. Also, we got a few minutes left. Let's talk a little bit of Arizona basketball, because basketball is it is here. I got to hang out with Tommy Lloyd not Tommy Lloyd, Jack Murphy. I don't know if you guys saw my video with Jack Murphy.
No, I hadn't seen it.
Jack Murphy screaming out back the A. It was amazing. Either way, I think this is going to be a really good team. I think this is going to be a much better team than any team that's ever graced the floor for ASU in my lifetime, which, well, be saying much. But I think it's going to be a tougher team. William Brad Allis, we're going to talk about this on Tuesday as well. By the way, Nate Rady is going to join the show for a few minutes. He's wanted to join the show. I told him that yes, that'll be more than okay. But very much like this team, I think it's going to be tough. You got Jaden Bradley, you got Caleb Love, you got KJ Lewis. I think Trey Townsend's going to be a monster. Mount Crevis. I am in on this team. What say you?
I think all the pieces are there. It's how they click together, and then you're going to have to, and maybe this is a great thing, be battle tested by the Big 12. It's the best conference in America. We're not saying that like the SEC, where everyone's going to be like, oh yeah, remember Vanderbilt was really good against Missouri. That proves they're good. No, it's a mediocre conference. But this is the best conference in America. So hopefully by the time you get to the NCAA tournament, which is the only thing lacking on Tommy Lloyd's resume, you can make that deeper run than just the Sweet 16.
Ben One White.
Yeah, we said last year that we thought that would be the best defensive team we've seen under Lloyd, but I think this will be the best defensive team. You got the pieces. One guy you didn't mention, though, Mike Luke, who is my favorite player already, just watching a little bit of the red and blue from the other night, is Tobe Awaka. I am very excited. He's very large, very muscular, and can do a lot of good things.
Don't say girthy. Yes, don't say girthy.
He's girthy.
Yeah, I was going to leave that one for Mike.
By the way, when did girthy not become what I think it means?
In reference to a certain.
Yeah, I didn't even know this until I started using it. When did girthy become a different thing?
I don't know, Mike. It's been that way for a while.
Didn't know that. All right. Either way, Desert Financial Credit Union by the numbers as well. Let's get your mind out of the gutter there, everybody. Okay. You look at it, Arizona outgained them by 90 yards, more passing yards, more rushing yards, more time of possession. But guess what? They made bad plays when they needed to make bad plays. That is what happened there. That is your Desert Financial Credit Union by the numbers. Again, get with Desert Financial Credit Union. Be like our good pal Ben One White, who is there as well. Guys, that just goes to show you sometimes you got to watch a game. You watched a game, Arizona beat themselves.
No, they absolutely did. You have the 3 turnovers. You have the failed conversion on 4th and 1. It's hard to blame Tyler. You have a missed field goal. More importantly, on the drive where you had was it the one they had the missed field goal? You quit running the ball when that was working. So there's a lot. Again, it was a game Arizona should have won. again, if Texas Tech had lost this game, they would have said the same thing. The drop pass in the end zone, some things, their turnovers. But Arizona had 7 trips into the red zone and came away with just a single touchdown. You can't have that. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, that's your number of the game right there. And then on third downs as well, this has been a problem all season, really, but 3 for 14, especially in short yardage situations, just completely unacceptable.
Yep. Unacceptable. All right. Now, I will say this. We will be back with you on Monday. Very much appreciate all of you. Now, we want to give a shout out to the birthday boy, Ben One White. Is Ben One White a nickname? No, that is his name. Do not make fun of it. If you go on Twitter, you will see that is his official name, Ben One White. This is true, Ben One White.
This is true, just like Iron Mike Luke is your legal name as well.
No, that's not my legal name. My real name is Michael Luke. Yours is actually Ben One White. And just like his is William Brad Allis. This is true.
Well, Bradley, but yes.
Yeah, either way. Very much appreciate you. Also, very odd to see all the ASU people. Dave Hickey for OC. Oh, I would hire Dave Hickey in a second. I would make Dave Hickey the head coach. You kidding me? All right. But on that note, though, for the prodigious Kevin Thomas behind the scene, for everybody on there, you guys are great. Ben One White, you are the man as well. We very much appreciate Ben One White. He is the man. We very much appreciate William Brad Allis. We do not appreciate me because I am a dork. But on that note, super snap. Sorry. ADHD, a little on overdrive. Hold on. Mr. Tyler Warden, miserable game. Never been more disappointed in the city of Tucson. Worst fan engagement I've ever seen, given the stakes 7-5 season loading. Can't disagree with any of that. I met Mr. Tyler Warden. He's like 6'8". He's a very large person. So I will do nothing. It's like the line.
So is he on a front line with Brody and?
Yeah, no, it's everybody's tall. It's like the line in Dumb and Dumber. I would do nothing to offend a man of your size. Also, Colin Trainer says, I'm just so sad. This is as good as we will be in my lifetime, and I'm just disappointed. Thanks for the great work, fellas. Cheers me up. Again, at the end of the day, it is what it is, guys. You know what? We're going to have fun here. And it's just it is what it is. Stut Joe 69, WVU best. Big 12. Does Big 12 stink? No. Well, maybe it does. But either way, it's highly entertaining, though. We can say that about the Big 12. This is true.
That's what we've been saying all preseason. That the difference between 1 and 8, 9. I think the one thing is you just have to flip Kansas and ASU. I thought Kansas would be better. I thought ASU would be worse. But everyone else is about what I thought they were, somewhere in that range. Okay, now, you guys want some – listen, I'm going to rap a little bit more for you on Monday, but all I'm going to say is what. That's all I'm going to do, 5 whops. Ben One White, very much appreciate you as always, your birthday boy, and we will talk with you all soon. But thanks again. You have been listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.